ASEAN breakfast call dialogue, widening your horizons.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hello, this is Grace.
And of course, you are listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. Now we are at our third segment, which is the ASEAN breakfast call dialogue. So Grace, what we have in store?
We have a very interesting topic to share today, and it's about the Malaysians, and Malaysians.
Too many Malaysians. But before that, I don't know whether I can wish this on air. Or maybe you can wish it also.
Well, I just want to do it.
I want to wish all Malaysians, regardless of race or religion or whatever, Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
It's actually very exciting, but then also it's quite sad that some race they were restricted to say something or wishful phrases.
That's where we are going to talk about the same topic. It's actually an initiative started by Azrul, Khalib, and also with the help of Mohani Niza. Mohani Niza is a writer and feminist, while Azrul Khalib, he is a social activist as well as the Convener for Malaysia. We are talking about the infamous hashtag Kami Juga 25 is the voices of everyday Malaysians supporting the open letter by 25 prominent Malays civil servants that wrote to the government regarding their dissatisfaction on a lot of issues, especially related to how Islam is conducted in this country by the religious authorities. So, hi, welcome aboard.
Hi, Arlene.
Hi, Azrul.
Hi, Gray.
Hello.
Hey, hi, Mohani.
Hello.
So, before we start our conversation, a bit of introduction about this infamous hashtag Kami Juga 25.
It's this idea that Mohani and I came up with in response to what we saw as a call for action. I know the G25 guys probably didn't look at it that way, but we certainly did, which was, wanting, instead of us sitting back and letting other people to carry the burden of putting out these issues, we felt that, everyday Malaysians should also step up to the plate and come forward to echo the concerns and issues that were articulated in that amazing letter that was issued early this month by the prominent, eminent, and distinguished Malay Muslims. And it's one of those things where we wanted to have something that would capture the imagination of people. We wanted something that people could relate to, and Mohani, being the young person that she is,
she's not old yet.
And was mentioning about younger people, trying to catch the younger people. So I thought, let's use this hashtag thing. The Twitter, everybody's doing it, right?
Yep.
But we also wanted to make sure that it was in a way that was friendly, but also relatable. So we came up with Kami Juga 25, which is in English, we are also 25. And
you don't have to be Malay.
And you don't have to be Malay or Muslim for that.
To be the 25.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to be, I mean, it's important that the G25 come up the way they did and who they are. All of that is extremely important. But what is equally important is for them to know, for people to know, for the leadership of this country to know that Malaysians of all ethnicities, religion, backgrounds stand behind the G25. That is what Kami Juga 25 is all about.
So Mohani, coming from the younger generation perspective, are your reasons similar to Azrul's? Not that I'm saying Azrul is older, but
oh man, here we go.
So, but for you, coming from the perspective of younger generation of Malaysian, knowing the state of race and religious politics in this country, why you are lending your support for the hashtag Kami Juga 25?
Okay, the reason why I'm standing up and demanding to be counted is because I am fed up of the politicization of Islam in this country. I believe that a lot of other people, especially youth, believe in the way that I do. We believe that Islam has been hijacked by extremists. We believe that religion and public policy, the line between religion and public policy has been blurred, and we're just generally just disgruntled by the fact that at how things are looking at in Malaysia, because we're going through a very slippery slope where any extremists can just stand up and speak and accuse people of liberalism, of pluralism. You know what you you know what I mean?
All the ism. But I mean, okay, I want to ask more about freedom of expression later on, but for this particular time now, I want to focus more on the open letter. Just a bit of a background for those who might not be aware of the letter that was published on 8th of December by 25 eminent Malays in the civil service. I'm just going to run through the names. It was initially signed by Tan Sri Dato Abdul Rahim bin Haji Din, former Secretary General, Ministry of Home Affairs; Tan Sri Ahmad Kamil Jaafar, former Secretary General, Minister of Foreign Affairs; Tan Sri Dr. Aris Othman, former Secretary General, Ministry of Finance; Tan Sri Dr. Ismail Merican, former Director General, Ministry of Health; Tan Sri Datuk Muhammad Sharif bin Muhammad Qasim, former Secretary General, Ministry of Finance; Tan Sri Datuk Dr. Mustafa Babji, former Director General, Veterinary Services; Tan Sri Nuraiza Abdul Hamid, former Secretary General, Ministry of Energy, Communications and Multimedia; Tan Sri Dr. Yahya Awang, cardiothoracic surgeon and co-founder, National Heart Institute; Datuk Sri Said Daud MD Ismail, former Court of Appeal Judge; Datuk Abdul Kadir bin Muhammad Din, former Ambassador; Datuk Anwar Fazal, former Senior Regional Advisor UNDP; Datuk Dali Mahmud Hashim, former Ambassador; Datuk Imam Muhammad Hanif Muhammad Hussein, former Ambassador; Datuk Farida Khalid, representative of Women's Voice; Datuk Latifah Merican Cheong, former Assistant Governor, Bank Negara; Lieutenant General RTD Datuk Maulap Makmin, Lieutenant General; and Datuk Nur Farida Arifin, former Ambassador; Datuk Ranita Hussein, former Suhakam Commissioner; Datuk Rezwan Kushairi, former Ambassador; Datuk Dr. Sharum Ahmad, former Deputy VC of USM; and Datuk Said Arif Fadilah, former Ambassador; Datuk Zainal Abidin Ahmad, former Director General, Malaysian Timber Industry Board; Datuk Zainuddin Bahari, former Deputy Secretary General, Ministry of Domestic Trade, Cooperatives and Consumerism; Datuk Halimah Muhammad Said, former Lecturer, and President, Association of PCOR; and lastly, Puan Hendun Mahmud, past President, Malaysian Bar. It's a lot of names. The reason why I need to mention all of this because they put their name there at risk, although most of them are formerly in very prominent role within the civil service in Malaysia. But why they do all this? Knowing that they will risk their status, their name, their reputation if anything goes wrong about it?
I think. Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, go ahead, Mohani. Go ahead.
Okay, I think at the end of the day, I think what they're doing is a very noble thing, and I believe that they have an advantage over non-Malays because of their Malay privilege, and so therefore I think that is why maybe one of the reasons why they stepped up and demanded to be counted.
Mm-hmm. So there's a privilege perspective here that is at play because of their position and then their race. that means they might command more, I would say, respect towards their view on certain issues, especially issue relating to religion. Is that what you mean?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. And but I'm also curious, like, all these people are former of something, or most of them are former of something. Why the current civil servants in the office right now are not as daring as the ones that is outside of office? So would that make any different at all, Azrul?
Well, it's the reality is that when you're in civil service in whatever country, you're a civil servant and you're beholden to the government of the day, regardless. And unfortunately, within the confines of their office, maybe they were able to voice out certain opinions, but outside of that, they can't. So they will, to answer your question, they will not be able to take on the positions that you just asked just now. But I would like to also state that what they're doing is similar to what Mohani just said that she's doing, which is important for us to underscore, is that I don't think they are risking themselves. I think what they're doing is to ensure that they're taken seriously, and that most importantly it comes from people who have had a distinguished career working, serving the country, serving the Malaysian people, that they view that this is an issue of concern, these are issues of concern, this is something that we should be able to discuss, and most importantly, and this is what I think Mohani's point is extremely important to repeat again, it comes from a group of people who have benefited the most from the system.
Mm-hmm.
If there is any change that needs to be done,
yeah, the ones should be responsible.
Well, then no, they're part of the solution to finding a new way forward. It must come from ourselves, which is the Malay Muslim community. It's important to state that, because everybody else can say, oh, you don't have a right to say that because you're not Malay, you're not Muslim, etc. So these guys have actually answered that challenge and said, we are Malay Muslims, we have served the country in decades of service. We are saying that this needs to be taken seriously.
I want to just spell out all the points that were being highlighted in the open letter. They gave 5 pointers that they hope the government as well as the moderate Muslim can maybe be more aware of. Number 1 is having a plural legal system that has led to many areas of conflict and overlapping between civil and Sharia law. So what they're asking is, you need to address this legal system that is moving on a parallel pace. And the second one is the lack of public awareness, especially among top political leaders, on the legal jurisdiction and substantive limits of the powers of the religious authorities and, of course, the administration of the Islamic law in this country. And the third one is the need to ensure the right of citizens to debate the way of Islam is used as a source of public law and policy. So they're asking that ordinary people like us shouldn't just be silent. They should have we should have the right to talk about things that is related to Islam, and you don't even have to be a Malay or Muslim to do it. Like, all Malaysians should have the right to do it. And the last one is the second last one is the need to promote awareness of the rich diversity of interpretative texts and juristic opinions in Islamic tradition. And of course, lastly, the need for the Prime Minister to assert his personal leadership, as well as appoint key leaders who will, in all fairness, champion open and coherent debate and discourse on the administration of Islamic law. So this is a personal message to Najib, perhaps. What can you make out of this open letters, especially the pointers that they try to give out to the public? Azrul, maybe?
Well, these are issues that are not highbrow policy issues. These are actually issues that affect everyone. And I mean everyone. It's not just talking about the Malay Muslims, but really everyone. And it's important that we underscore a few points there with regards to the G25, especially with regards to the system and those who are the guardians or implementers of the system. Today we are very much concerned that Malaysia is inherently a secular country.
Mm-hmm.
That is without doubt. That was the spirit of the federal constitution. That is how Malaysia was formed in that agreement, in which Islam would be the religion of the federation.
Just to clarify the word secularism, because for those who are more of an Islamicized side, they would definitely see the word secularism as in like you are trying to do away with religion altogether. But is that the case in reality?
Well, I'm sure whoever's listening who's of that frame would be jumping over the teh tarik or coffee and saying, "Oh my God, it's not true. It's secular and everything." It's a misrepresentation of how we should expect secular systems to perform. We think that it's anti-religion. Some people think it's anti-religion, and these people think it's anti-religion. Actually, it's not. What it wants to actually ensure, at least in the context of Malaysia, is a harmonization of expectations with regards to how governance should be. And that is a separation of what is in the personal domain versus what is in the public. If it's personal, then it should be Sharia for Muslims, of course. That's why when you look at the Sharia system, it is with regards to the personal issues, family, inheritance, adoption, things like things that are dealing with oneself. But everything else belongs in the secular civil system, and that boundary needs to be reinforced, because what's happened here is that the implementers, the guardians of that system, are actually promoting an encroachment of Islamic Sharia precepts into the area in which it is actually not supposed to go, which is actually against the constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So we are concerned about that, and we need to let the people above know that no, this is not just an issue of Muslims, it is also affecting non-Muslims. No, it is not an issue in which you have no right to say something. It is, because it affects everyone. Therefore, we should be able to have that engagement, and that goes to the third point of the G25 letter. And most importantly, the continued silence of the leadership, especially the Prime Minister, on this issue is very disappointing.
Until now, he hasn't said anything. Has he?
He has, in spurts,
or vaguely said.
I think very, strange, vague references, but the fact of the matter is there is no clear and defining statement that allows, basically everybody to know that this letter has been heard from him. There's no recognition, there's no acknowledgement, there's nothing.
Mohani, I want to ask you, being a Malay yourself, do you think the 25 eminent Malay civil servants, they are the exception, or their voices are actually part of what ordinary Malay would, either is the younger generation or the older generation, but ordinary Malay would share also as well in terms of their views?
I think at the end of the day, Malaysians are very moderate. We use our intellect to proceed before making any decisions. So I believe that yes, it is a common. I believe it is a common sentiment. I believe that a lot of young Malays, I believe that Malays, whether young or old, believe in the sentiment that are expressed in the letter.
But when it comes to issues related to religion, it's a pretty sensitive area. It's like stepping on a
quicksand.
Yeah, something like that. It's never minefield. It's never ending, and it's very dangerous. Like if you say the wrong thing, you probably get the worst kind of treatment.
Hold off.
But when it comes to non-Malays point of view, I'm sure you have friends from the non-Malay side. When they see Malay reacting to the issue of Islam, similar to how they feel as well, do they feel that like finally, this is not like an issue that non-Muslims or non-Malays are concerned, but like in general all Malays are concerned, including the prominent Malays?
It's one of those things where it's quite unfortunate that our mindset has always been us versus them, or that's their community, that's our community, and unfortunately that's always been the mindset from very early on. We're very communal, and I think that's wrong. It may have been the case in the past, but if we're looking at advancing Malaysia into the 21st century in a way that we talk about, Wawasan 2020, Vision 2020, and all this developed nation objectives and all that, we need to talk about a new deal for this country, something that is not rooted in looking at Malay, Indian, Chinese, dan lain-lain, and others. We need a paradigm shift that looks beyond this, and we have to stop discussing these issues within the same framework as well. I think one of the biggest traps here today is that we continue to try to solve problems within the problem by providing a solution that actually is part of the problem. And I think that's wrong, because we today we have higher education, we have exposed ourselves to different issues and ideas. We are able to coexist. We're no longer threatened by each other in a way that it was back in the 60s. And that's important to note, because people have been using the boogeyman of 1969 again and again to say that no, we have to continuously think this way and solve problems this way. And I think it's wrong. More inclusive Malaysia.
For you, Mohani, Niza, do you think far right-wing organizations like ISMA and Perkasa are popular among the younger generation? Because I personally believe you want to know how Malaysia would fare in the future is to look at what the younger generation are thinking, especially young Malays.
It depends. I believe it depends on which sector of the Malay population we're looking at. I've been researching about the Malay mindset, and I realized that there's this group. I'm not sure if you know about it. It's a group that is it's Pakeda, and it's an extremist Malay group. I'm not sure exactly what they stand for, but they're very paternalistic and very hierarchical and very patriarchal, and they aim to defend the Malays. And yes, so yes, I find it a very problematic issue, and I feel that if we don't step in, if the moderate voices do not step in, and if we don't step in now, then Malaysia will fall into the hands of such groups which can just call themselves NGO without any introspection, without any check and balance.
Anyway, we will take a short break. We'll continue with more discussion on the hashtag Kami Juga 25.
ASEAN Breakfast Call Dialogue, widening your horizons.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hi.
Hi, this is Grace.
Hi, this is Gauri.
And we are back on our discussion on ABC Dialogue, which is about the hashtag Kami Juga 25, voices of the everyday Malaysians. So the movement which both Mohani and yourself, Azrul, have created is a movement to support the 25 prominent or eminent Malays that we discussed earlier. Before I go towards the discussion on the movement itself, I just have one question about JAKIM, because they did reply and give their feedback to the 25 eminent Malays. In fact, they say that why don't we have a dialogue together? They even set the date of the dialogue, which was, I think it was on, they wanted to do it on 23rd of December, if I'm not mistaken. But why they didn't, the 25 prominent Malay didn't didn't accept that form of dialogue with Jakim.
Arlene, I'm sorry, but the letter was not addressed to Jakim. The letter was addressed to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, and the Prime Minister of Malaysia did not stand up and issue a reply by saying, "Yes, I've heard you. Let me assign Jakim to talk to you."
But Jakim are the ones govern the Islamic or religious law in this country, isn't it?
No, they don't govern the Islamic law. They're actually the federal coordinating body, because Islam is a state matter under the federal constitution. But most importantly here is that the letter itself is addressed to the Prime Minister, in which case he needs to be able to reply in his own capacity as the Prime Minister. It is important for us to say this, because the G25 guys were very right in refusing to meet with Jakim or any other department for that matter, because this would be a lessening of the concerns that they have raised.
In fact, they also called Prime Minister Najib to establish an inclusive consultative committee to call for the rational dialogue on Islamic laws rather than, of course, meeting Jakim. Do you, you being part of this hashtag Kami Juga 25 movement, do you agree with that establishment?
What do you think, Mohani?
The establishment of what again?
It's called an inclusive consultative committee call upon rational dialogue on Islamic laws.
Yes, I believe so, because that can be the backbone of, because consultation with various stakeholders is the essence of democracy, because one person alone cannot dictate laws and policies, and therefore needs the opinion of many various people from various backgrounds. And interestingly, when you reminded me of the inclusive of the demand, I was reminded of the Islamic principle of shura. Shura is basically a method in Islamic legal tradition where a group of people come together to sit and discuss about matters that pertain to laws and policies. And so therefore I strongly believe that this is important. What the G25 members demanded with Najib is very important.
I'm glad Mohani mentioned that concerning Shura. And it is the essence of democracy anywhere where you need consultation with stakeholders. But the problem in this country, when it comes to religion,
it's very one-sided.
They say very clearly, total transparency. They totally not shy about it. Religion is not up for discussion. It is determined by a small group of bearded, turbaned men and women who are not bearded in a room somewhere where they decide a version of this religion, which honestly, you look elsewhere, it does not actually have relation to and how Islam is practiced in some parts of the world. And it's strange, because these guys say it's not up for discussion. We will not consult you because we are the authorities on the issue, and if you question, if you discuss, it would lead towards the skewing of the faith or the penyelewengan akidah and all that. So the point of the matter is, with regards to that issue they raised, is that actually it's not true. I'm glad they reject that premise. It's not something that you cannot discuss. Everything that affects all of us should be discussed, because the very spirit of Islam is about consultation.
So are you saying that because when it comes to religion, it's also not just a federal matter, it's also in a state, as in all the 14 states matters as well, because they state government also have a right to create their own Islamic laws or whatever. So are you saying that even states like Kelantan or those who are under the opposition should pay attention to this 25 prominent Malays open letter?
Absolutely. I mean, let's not beat around the bush here. The G25 letter is maybe addressed to the Prime Minister, but the issues are common to every state, and whether it's governed by the Pakatan Rakyat or Barisan Nasional. It's a common issue, and we should be concerned.
I mean, Sharia law is along the way in Kelantan.
Well, when they're starting to talk about implementation of hudud, doesn't the G25 letter also apply with regards to that issue as well? I'm concerned.
I'm very curious here. This movement that it's created, Kami Juga 25, right? I'm sorry, I can't speak Malaysian.
25.
yeah, we are also Malaysians 25. I as a foreigner, I strongly do support this movement. But then my curiosity falls where, how do you plan to sustain this movement? Because if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that I've seen like few movements in Malaysia, and then they started with a very good initiation and a good movement. However, after all, they just fade away, and then the government there's no communication between the government and the public, and then it really saddens me to see this movement, because there's no it looks like it's a very progressive movement, but after they just dies off. So how do you plan to sustain this movement, or do you plan to have more people involved in this movement to get more signatures, and then them to be able to, for our Prime Minister to be heard about this movement?
We're taking things one step at a time. We believe that our focus right now is to get the signatures. Our target is 10,000 signatures, and it may sound idealistic, but I think we can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can do it. But you guys had a petition, right? I mean,
it's an online. It's actually not so much a petition as it's an online letter. You know, the thing that is about petition is that you want to petition for something. What we wanted instead for this online letter would be that it is a letter that it would start off with 25 people, everyday Malaysians signing on it, but then we open it up so that other people can sign this letter too.
I see.
Because if we're talking about it being a common concern, then let's make it look like and feel like and be a common concern. So people can add on their names to the list as well. Now, you know, going back to the issue of sustainability, you know, it is absolutely a problem. We are in Malaysia, and the people who get petitioned or are the target of these things take advantage of the short-term memory that famously was captured by Dr. Mahathir not too long ago with Melayu Cepat Lupa.
Melayu Cepat Lupa.
But the thing is that we're in it for the long haul. This is a marathon. It is not a 100-meter sprint.
Okay.
I'm a little bit biased because I'm a runner, right? So, but really, we're doing this in such a way that we're looking at sustaining the interest of the Malaysian to be participating in their own democracy. This is not a situation we want it to be subcontracted to these 25 people and saying, oh, it's okay, I'll take a back seat, let you guys hang it out and struggle for it. No.
Okay.
The difference concerning the Kami Juga 25 is that we want people to be engaged in their own way, in the best way that they think possible. It starts off with putting your name on that online letter, and then taking photos with signs that says Kami Juga 25, and but it's to create this environment of participatory democracy.
Definitely, that comes with awareness, and then I also would love to participate in this movement, even though I'm not a Malaysian, you see, because I do strongly support this kind of movement, because this is for the better, this is for the improvement of the nation, and then the voices needs to be heard, you know, to the government, and the deliver has to be clear to the government. There should be some kind of a communication, you see.
But you say it's open to everyone. I can't help but to see. Seems to be more of a middle class sort of movement. Maybe is in English, although the hashtag is in Malay. But are you planning to make this as accessible to all social classes in this country?
Actually, the online letter is in 2 languages, English and Bahasa. If you look at the bottom, the actual letter that will be sent is in Bahasa.
Oh, you have a versi Bahasa Malaysia.
So it's stated very clearly there that, you know, and we had that up a few hours after the English version went up, just so that and also if you look at at the messages that are going online, they're both in both languages. Unfortunately, we can't go with the other languages like like Chinese or Tamil or some other, because I can't do that. I don't know it. But we're hoping that it does, because I've started to see in the Chinese media, Kami Juga 25 is starting to pick up there. So they themselves are writing it in Chinese language and everything. But
what's it called in Chinese?
I don't know. I'm wanting to check myself, but it's something to ask. But we want people to get excited about wanting to be engaged. That it's not somebody else's job to fight for you. Fight for yourself. Stand up, speak up.
Yep. And there were a lot of criticisms on Facebook as well when I think Ki Tuan Chai posted it and asked people to sign, and people were like, no, where is this gonna go? Yeah. And these 25 people who signed just want to be glamorous and they want the fame. But I think these people don't realize that by not signing, they're not actually making a difference. Like maybe it will go somewhere, maybe it won't. We don't know what's gonna happen. But what's important is that we actually stand up and take some action.
Exactly.
That's the most important thing.
It's we're on the train. You can be on the train, or you can stand on the platform and look at the train pass. It's going to be a situation where, you can be cynical about it. No problem. Anybody can be cynical about it, and we can be skeptical based on historical evidence of what's happened in the past. No problem.
This is also another question. Is talking about far right-wing movement. It's not a typically Malaysian issue. If you look at the global world, every country, even European Union, have very far right-wing representatives, and it's a problem. It's a global problem. In the US, they have the Tea Party. But for you guys, it's easy to preach to the converted, but for those who are more attracted to extreme views, what is your strategy to bring them to the center and let them see, hashtag Kami Juga 25 is something that they can relate to and they should support?
The reality is that if you have 100%, there's going to be 20% on either side.
Yep.
Extreme right, extreme left. And they're going to be concrete fossilized in the way they look at
but
their
issues. Their voices are the loudest, unfortunately.
And why is that? It's crazy. I think Shamsul Amri said it very nicely the other day, in the speech that he gave during a seminar on racism, is that the ones who are making making the most noise and being very bigoted and prejudiced and hateful is 1%. Yet, the 99% can't do anything about this 1%. Why is that? And that is why we ourselves, by being quiet, we are allowing the 1% to dictate, determine, and most importantly, be our voice. And that is wrong because they don't speak for us.
Yeah. But Mohani, I have a question for Mohani, because being a young person, the younger generation, what about organizations like ISMA and Pekida, which I believe are populated more by the younger generation, the younger Malays? How can the younger Malays go to the center? Because they seem to be more attracted, more and more of them are attracted to these extreme far right-wing views about race and religion.
I see. I think first and foremost, there must be a study on why, there must be a research on why so many young Malays are going back to extremism, are going to extremism. I believe it's a combination of many factors. It includes lack of proper education, poverty.
So there's a socio-economic dynamic there that people seldom talk about. Is that your meaning?
The mass media, and all that. Yeah, so it's very, very hard for us to rope in those kind of people to get into our side.
Yeah. I just wanted to quote something from a tweet that came out just recently. It's famous, absolutely famous right now, by one of our ministers, Abdul Rahman Dahlan, from, I think, Sabah, right? It's from Sabah.
The UMNO minister.
Yeah, the UMNO minister that came out recently, right?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, but wishing people Merry Christmas, right? You know what? In one of his tweets, you know what he said? ISMA is not my voice. They don't represent me and many millions Muslim Malaysians. religious bigotry has no place in moderate Malaysia. And it's important for us to recognize
Of course.
this, is that they don't speak for us, and we shouldn't allow them to continue to be the determining influence in how we view relations between ethnic relations, for example, between religions. We cannot, So we're glad that Kami Juga 25 is gaining support. We're in it for the long haul, and we're hoping to start to see more Malaysians come out and sign the online letter. I hope those listening are going to sign it and take photos as well. But most importantly, look at it as not the voices of 25 other people, but look at it as your voice. This letter articulating your voice and what you want to be said out there and open.
With that, thank you Azrul and Mohani for sharing your views. All the best. Merry Christmas and
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas everybody. And of course, please support #Kami Juga 25, and hopefully Malaysia will the future of Malaysia will be a bright one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.